Hello everybody, welcome back to another challenge video, another campaign playthrough with a twist. I was gonna say this week's, but just this challenge, we're doing, no blasters. No blasters in the entire campaign, across all the missions. Now, I suppose I should start off by defining the rules. I mean by blasters is pretty much, anything, obviously, like, when you're thinking about, like, any slot, anything as your item, just any guns, like the actual thing for the gun, anything like that, DH, A28, I don't know, that part's pretty clear. I'm also going to be excluding the Vanguard, the shotgun. I'm also going to be excluding certain, like, little power-ups. I'm also going to be excluding vehicles of all sorts, because I think, I mean, that one's a bit more debatable, but they're come on, it's like, it's different, kind of like plasma or everything. It's like giant. It's like comparing a gun to a cannon. I mean, they're similar principle but different. It's all the same. Like, you know, it's massive. You can't hold it in your hand or anything. That's not a blaster. It's called the no blaster challenge, not no RT challenge. That should be cleared. I'm allowed to press RT. Just it's not like everything's RT is shooting. It's different. Come on, guys, stick with me here. Anyway, for the first mission here, on whatever, just the little spaceship, the Rebellion cruiser, obviously ID isn't really a question in the matter, the little droid dude, because you don't have a gun. When you get to Iden, you don't get a gun for a little bit, you just use stealth, and then you can use some more stealth, and then, heck, even maybe a little bit more stealth, you know? But all in all, this part's a little tricky. It might take a little bit of attempt, a little bit of thought process as well, because you don't have any of your power-ups except for the scan. So, but all you have to do is be a little cautious and use a lot of meleeing, and you'll be fine. And moving on to Endor. Well, Endor's pretty chill. First you just use some melee on these two gals. But Endor itself is pretty simple, but first what I'll go into is the setup, or your cards. My setup changes a little bit later. Thermal detonator is not actually a good thing to have. Its impact grenade works the best because it hits them and everyone's one shot anyway, pretty much from it. But the one card, Brawler, is pretty huge because when you use melee, pretty much what you're going to be using for most of this challenge, it gives you everything else back instantly, which is, for the most part, all you really need is your shield or your grenade. The right ability was just the pulse cannon because I didn't Vanguard. That's kind of helpful. You might replace that with that because it'll actually use that slot and you can use it to run faster. But besides that, it's just kind of there. But also cooldown bonus is pretty good, just makes everything come back real quickly. But other than that, it's a pretty good strategy. Your gun doesn't matter because you hopefully won't be using it. The ATSD was a little tricky. I know there's a rocket launcher there, but I was deciding not to use it for some reason. I was also using a flash grenade, or like the one that splits into pieces. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. It wasn't. I used the thermal detonator, which also isn't as good as the impact grenade, I don't think. But it doesn't really matter. I got it done quickly enough. We got a flying section right after that. We're all fine. You know, have vehicle rules there, and we're done with Endor. Now on Fondor, for the most part, you're just flying around, so, you know, vehicle rules, you know how it is. Jump in the hangar, blow everything up, then you move on, because you have to pull out the fuel cells or whatever. Now, this section was a little worrying, because I still hadn't realized I should be using impact grenade at this point, but, so I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to actually destroy the frickin' things. I thought I might have to shoot it, but we're all good. I also found out that disruption is kind of helpful, because it just turns off their guns for a little bit, and you can get melee in. So that's cool. But otherwise, we are safe. We're all good to get through this section without any shooting, without any damage. I mean, yes, you'll get damage. It's pretty fine. You'll get through it without too much hassle. Anyway, we're just moving on straight after that because we just got more ships, and then it's to Vardos. Actually, I lied. It's not to Vardos yet. We're on to Pilia, but we're just playing as Luke. You don't even have a blaster, so we're all fine there. Just chop them up. You're all good. Now we're on to Vardos. So, that's that. Now, Vardos it's a little bit more difficult than, like, Endor, but it's still pretty basic. At this point I had already perfected my loadout, so it wasn't too hard to do with like the larger hordes of enemies, but you know, the drill, pop your shield, get up close, melee, melee, melee. It ain't too much sweat, you might take some damage, but as long as you're careful, it's fine. Then you hop onto the AT-AT, you know the drill, hop on the Corvus, and you're grand. There isn't that much to talk about on this mission. Now for Naboo, well there's kind of two parts to Naboo. First part is just you're flying around as an X-Wing vehicle rules, and that's the entire mission. It's boring because you have to spend 10 years protecting the Y-Wings, but it's whatever. But then you move on to the Leia section. Now this one is definitely one of the harder sections in the game. It really, it's a little tricky. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's still tricky. Because the thing about Leia, I mean, this is old pre-revamp Leia, so the only abilities besides melee that she can use is the flash grenade. You can use the middle ability to run faster, but just don't shoot with it. But that's a little bit rough because the flash grenade sucks, but it's kind of like disruption. You can like you can kind of distract them first and get some melee hits in, but yeah, I was a little bit worried about the section where you have to retreat a lot, but it turned out being pretty similar to the other ones where you wait. You just pop down your shield, run out, get a few melee kills, and run back. Be a little safe. Don't get the attention of like the ATSC or AT-AT. I think they can kill you, probably. I didn't get killed by it, so it was fine. You move in, you detonates the ion pulse, and then you move on to the next mission, and you'll be grand. Now for the Han section on Takodana, this one is a lot easier than Leia because unlike Leia, Han actually has two abilities for dealing with enemies without a blaster involved: shoulder charge and detonate. Pretty big moves. Detonate it's not as helpful because it doesn't recharge super fast and sometimes they're not clumped up, but it's whatever. I just melted most of them fairly quickly. We went to this last section. We got a vehicle section at the end, but then we got this section here. It took a little bit just waiting for Chewbacca or whatever to fix the Falcon, then we can take off. Some interesting things happened there of note. Some corpses decided to start floating into the sky like wizards or demons. I don't know. It was weird. Then I dodged a rocket. It was strange, to say the least, but we got through it, and then we flew away, and that was that. It was definitely a memorable experience, to say the least. Now on Bespin, I forgot to, well, I didn't forget, but the first section kind of isn't here because my recording bugged out. I don't know what happened there. But, so we just got the tail end of this part here, where we got the ATSD in this big old open area. It was definitely one of the trickier parts, but it was pretty nice. I also had some nice moments with the barrage. That was nice, and I also had the rocket launcher to deal with the ATSD, which I learned from my mistakes on Endor. But I also had a clip with the barrage that was in the earlier part of this mission, but that's not here anymore. So that's cool. That's always a fun thing that happens, you know, but, you know, we live and we don't learn. We learn to have more storage on our computer. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. This is all irrelevant. Stop listening to this. Anyway, we blew up that ATSD with no time at all. Didn't take too much damage. It was the same way I did it on the no damage challenge. Found a nice spot right here. You can get snuck up on, but hopefully not. And anyway, we just proceed onto this cloud car, more vehicles section. You know how it is. Blow up those fueling cells. Pretty cool, pretty easy. Just boom, boom, boom. All the things fall down, and then just like that. That's another one in the bag. And we're moving on to an interesting mission, to say the least. Now, for Lando on Solist, this mission's kind of funny. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I got a good chuckle out of this. I actually didn't. I felt a lot of pain out of it. This is one of the few missions that I genuinely struggled with. It was also kind of funny just having a massive brawl with a bunch of stormtroopers just mashing RS, just punch, punch, punch. So I mean that was honestly pretty cool, and it happened a few times. It was a weird mission, because you see the thing about Lando is he's kind of like Leia, except even worse, because he has literally no moves that don't use a blaster that do damage. Except, well, I mean, as the melee, obviously. Everyone has the melee. I guess, I don't know, it's whatever. But there's just one section where, well, there's this control panel to move the AT-AT, or to move it in front of you, to make a bridge to get across this big gap after you've overloaded the facility with lava. But at this certain impasse, there's a control panel, and Lando decides he doesn't want to use the buttons. He decides he wants to shoot it. And you see, Lando doesn't have any way of doing damage besides shooting. Even his LBRB, the sharp shot, doesn't target it. And so I can't even cheap out with an excuse like, you know, it's an ability. It's not a gun. I don't have anything. You just have to shoot. You literally just have to shoot it one time, and that's it. But you still have to shoot it one time. And maybe there's a way around. Maybe do some speedrun glitch. I don't know. I don't think there even is. I mean, I assume there's speedruns, but not actually anything interesting. But I do think that this is a big L, honestly, and this is failed the challenge. But we're still gonna keep going, see how the other sections fare. But Solus doesn't have that much else to offer. You punch everyone in a bunch of big brawls, and then you get the ATSD, and then you're done. But it's whatever, man. Now on Jakku, part 1, we're actually on the ground, and you're kind of flying around. I first went to the hangar section. I guess it's a hangar, that's what they call it. It doesn't really look like it. But you got a few people. There isn't actually that many people in the hangar to start with. There's more later. But first, just run around, punch, and this part was surprisingly easy. Like, I don't know, there was just like 2 people in this entire hangar. But anyway, we grab the rocket launcher, the TIE fighter comes out, and it did literally 0 damage to me. I found a good hiding spot, and we blew it up. Plant those bombs like a champ. Anyway, you just look out the window, you see, got this nice rocket launch on these guys as they were exiting the little transport. That was pretty nice. Then you just move on to the other section. You got like 2 little points where you get up, you have to fly to. It was like, right, that's where the AT-ATs are. This part was very easy. My footage broke again, but we got a little bit of me using the macro binoculars. Anyway, you know, you just shoot them like 3 times each, and you blow them up, and that's how it went. That's not a gun, obviously. And with that, we move on to the second part of Jakku, where you are on the side of the Star Destroyer. Let's get into that. I should mention before we go to the Star Destroyer, actually we have the one last section where you're in the air and you fight a few guys, but then you also fight Hask, and I get one of my quickest kills on Hask to date. I mean, he's just like an interceptor, but has a lot of health, and before he actually appears, like the thing spawns in before the actual target on him appears, but I actually noticed which ship it was, and I managed to nail him down and do so much damage before the friggin' boss bar even came up. I mean, if you want to call it a boss bar, it's just a normal bar, or hexagon even, but it was just cleanly executed. Anyway, we move on to the broadside of the Star Destroyer, and this part was pretty chill. It was kind of a little intense with like the rocket troopers and stuff, but we moved it through it somewhat swiftly. This part, it definitely was one of the more notable parts of the challenge. You might be like, wow, look at these guys, you got damage coming at you, you'll probably break through your shield. But I mean, you just get your shield back once you melee one of them, which is the very helpful part of that card. But that's all that. Then we get to the inside of the Star Destroyer, and at this there isn't really any other gameplay. I mean, you are running around, but if you want to call that gameplay, I'm a little bit confused by that. We got one more gameplay section where we're playing as Kylo Ren, so there's no gun there. There's no way to lose the challenge at this point. I mean, we already have lost the challenge, I know. I actually thought that we were going to win this challenge. This is the second one. We're 0 for 2 on our record. But with that, I don't really have anything left to say about this challenge. This is the outro time. I hope you enjoyed this another challenge video. I do enjoy these. They're definitely my more ambitious projects that I work on. put some voiceover into it. That's always cool. It's a bit annoying to work. This video has worked a lot better than the other one. I didn't accidentally delete any footage, so that was cool. The footage just got busted up a little bit, but we didn't lose that much. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe. I don't know, watch a different video, watch the other challenge, watch all the challenges, watch the tier list. I don't know, we got playlists, we got stuff for you to watch. This is great stuff. Anyway, with that, I don't have anything else to say. I don't think so. All I have to say at this point is goodbye. I don't know how to do outros.